Alright, John Falstrom back here. It's November 4th, 2013. And you can see I'm with my my buddy here, Dave Taylor, who's been my...
I'm usually behind the camera.
Dave's videotaped all these sessions up here. Co-producer, co-director, editor, everything. This guy I owe a lot to. Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it, man. Really.
All right, thanks.
So Dave here is going to do a little Q&A. Dave's a guitar player, so he knows quite a bit about stuff, and he's going to ask me some questions about whatever Dave wants. Dave?
Yeah, so, you know, I know several thousand of you people have viewed our videos, and I'm sure sometimes you have some thoughts, especially about your bass playing, and I play guitar, and I even have some questions even when I'm in here filming the videos, and so today we're going to kind of talk about kind of maybe not really an unusual topic, but we're going to talk about strings today. Could be a little bit of information here that we could talk about. And first of all, one of the questions that I had that was boggling my mind came down to the acoustic bass. And on an acoustic guitar, we usually have phosphor bronze strings for the most part. That's what we will use. And they also come on an acoustic bass. But I noticed when John plays his acoustic, like this one right here, he has his acoustic basses strung up with regular electric bass guitar strings. And I'm like, John, why would you do that?
That's a great question, Dave. You're right. All my acoustic basses have the regular, these are boomers, GHS boomers, regular electric guitar bass strings. And I noticed after I played my first acoustic bass with the bronze strings, like Dave was saying, it's like they were worn out and they were bronze, and it was like, oh, okay, I like the color. And it was like, I noticed it was good. And then I said, oh, I'm going to see if an electric pair go on there, because I had a ton of electric pairs. And I put a set of electric bass strings on it, and I played, and it's like, oh my god, they sound great. And so I did a little investigating and kind of looked into bronze strings, the advantages. Why do they put bronze strings on acoustic basses? And it's because it's a softer metal, and it's a softer sound, and that's about it. So, and I like the vision of silver. I'm so used to silver for my playing, and the bronze kind of actually threw me off a little bit with what I wanted to play. So I'm looking, so should I go with the bronze with a lighter sound, or go with just a regular electric? And I said, oh, I'm going with the regular electric bass string. So if you're an acoustic bass player, try regular electric bass strings, round or flats, and see if you like it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you just mentioned roundwound or flatwound strings.
Yes.
You know, I've seen them. My son plays bass. He's been in one of the videos before, and he complained about his fingers hurting when he first started playing with the round-wound strings. So we put flat wounds on there, and we've had flats ever since. John, you know, most people play round-wound strings, but give me some insight on what can I expect? Like, if I were to put flat wounds on my bass, if I was playing bass guitar and I put flat wounds on, what difference am I going to notice right up front?
On flats?
Yes.
The
Going
feel,
from rounds to
yeah,
flats.
the feel, like Derek said, you know, the rounds got that little ridge. You can hear it. Flats are just smooth, and so it's very nice on the fingers. Just smooth. They're smooth metal, and they're original bass strings, and they're like upright bass strings. Advantages with sound-wise, they sound great. Nice and God, they sound great. I mean, so I think the only difference, in my opinion, Dave, is between round wound and flat wound is you might get a little more ting on the round wound. I think that's why they became popular, and that's all I use now is round wound. Because and here's the difference, in my opinion, is the feel. Is that little ridge.
Okay.
You get used to that little ridge, and it becomes a part of you. So if you're used to that sound, it's very hard for me. I can't play with flat wounds just because of the ridge, not the sound. The sound of flat wounds are phenomenal.
Yeah, see, now I've messed around with bass guitars, and I've played the electric ones, and I you know, playing guitar, I actually like the round wound feel. I've played the flats, and they kind of tend to almost hurt a little bit, mostly because they're made of stainless steel.
Yes.
So I guess the advantage of that is that they last a long time.
They do last a long time.
Unlike some of these other strings that require like cleaning, which is something that you recommend, opposed to changing them, cleaning. You can make them extend. Talk about your method for what you do to extend the life of your strings.
Cleaning, yeah. I'll tell you straight off. Actually, I got it from the great Rufus Reed out of his instruction book, Evolving Bassist. I got it back when it came out, 74, 75, and that's one benefit of reading music. You learn all these insights. And Rufus had in his book about how to clean bass strings, and I caught on to it. And it's what you do is you take off your strings when they're dead, and you wrap them up like you get them new. You fill a half a bucket hot water with little detergent, laundry soap, just regular. Throw your strings in there for about 20 hours, and that pulls all the oil from your skin. That gets, oil from your skin, dirt that gets in between these little ridges that really kill the tone of the strings. And it, just like your clothes, it pulls out all that stuff. You rinse them off, let them dry, and they're brand new. And I got that. Believe me, that all goes to Rufus Reed. Thank you, Rufus. That's from his book, and I've been doing it for almost 40 years.
I believe you also talk about that in your book.
In my book, absolutely.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say boiling strings. I boiled it, and I can't see. It didn't work. I wasn't happy with the boiling process. You need that soap. You need that detergent to grab the dirt. It's just like clothes. You pull it out. So if you're a bass player, wrap them up, put them in hot water out of the faucet in a bucket, fill it about halfway, put some laundry soap in it, let them soak for about 20 hours, rinse them off, let them sit dry, put them back on brand new.
Okay. I have a question too. Before we talked about the acoustic bass here, we've got the electric bass. Of
course.
And I think we were talking before we shot the video that as a guitar player, opposed to bass guitar like electric or acoustic guitars, when it comes to string size, usually I find that the acoustic guitar, my strings are heavier than my electric guitar, and it could be probably because of the action. You're doing a lot more with the electric guitar. You're doing a lot more string bending.
Right.
You're doing a lot more things with that, but it's the opposite with the bass guitar, correct?
Yeah. On the acoustic bass, you probably want medium light to light. Because the nut is cut for probably light or medium light. So if you get medium on acoustic, put a set of medium on your bass, they're not going to fit the nut, and they're a little rough on acoustic bass, a little heavy for an acoustic bass. So I use on this acoustic bass, all my acoustic basses, I use medium light.
Okay.
And actually, what I use on my electrics are medium light or medium.
Okay.
Right. I would go the other way.
Okay.
You can go light maybe light on a short scale acoustic bass, but you're right. You're opposite for the acoustics.
Okay.
And electrics.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. So
yeah, absolutely.
Little tip there for all of you guitar players that are thinking about playing, switching over to bass. You're going to be going in the opposite direction.
Absolutely.
And John, we were talking about strings.
Right.
And you talked about cleaning them. How do you know when to when do you change them? And when do you say that these are done?
Gotcha.
I've got as far as they've reached the end of the line. When should I change them?
Right. What you do is you get a set of strings, you play them. They get hard to bend. What happens is when you know your strings are dead, is it like listen to the sound, it's like, well, they're going to lose a tone, but what you do is they get heavy. They feel real heavy, so that's because of all the oil in it. I would just take those strings off, throw them in and clean them, and then when you break a string, go get a set.
Okay.
When you break a string, that's when it's time to get a new set. Because if you go with the cleaning process, if you don't go with the cleaning process where you just, okay, how do I know when my strings are dead? You should go by probably, if you're not used to a sound of a dead string, it's just, if you can't manipulate it too well and it doesn't bend or give you that vibrato, it's because the string's heavy. It's heavy with oil and dirt because inside it. So yeah, I change my strings when they're just heavy sound,
Okay.
hard to play. Then I wash. Yeah, I do. Like I said, I'll wash the strings and put them back on, and they're brand new. So.
All right, John, I have a question for you.
Okay.
When we come to changing the strings,
Right.
and I go to the store, I buy a new set of strings. Even if I buy the same size, would you recommend taking it into a professional to have it reset up, have the truss rod looked at, adjusted? Or do you just do that when we maybe change the type of string or the size?
Well, I think if you don't know how to use a truss rod, Dave, or string your strings, bring it into a professional, because your neck might warp, like I said. It might go down because of the tension. You're right. It's all tension. There's so much tension on this neck right now. You take the strings off. You take all four, which is okay. And if you don't know how to use the truss rod, it might go back a little bit, and your strings will be higher up. And if you don't know how to put the strings on good, you're in trouble. So bring it to a professional without a doubt. Watch, learn, and you'll get good at it, okay? But at first, if you try and do it yourself, it could turn into Nightmare. Okay.
Yeah. Another question too. If I decide I want to play a heavier string,
Absolutely.
definitely the you know, we look right here at the nut.
Right.
There. Sometimes the strings may not fit. Probably wouldn't be a good idea to jam them in there, right? We want to make sure that we have somebody go in there and use a nut file.
Good call.
To open up to make sure that, because you want to have this when you go to tighten the string up, it's going to pull through there. If you're already wedged in there and you go to tighten up the string, you could actually break the nut on the guitar.
Absolutely.
So
I've probably done that. I'm sure I've done. Yeah, great call. The string, if the string's a little big right there,
yeah,
just go to a guy, a repair guy, and he's great. They just widen the little slot there, and the string should be a great fit. Okay.
Yeah.
And don't try and force it, like you said. If you try and force the string, if it's too big, the nut's gonna break.
Yeah. And I probably wouldn't try doing that yourself, because if you go too deep in the hole, you're going to have all sorts of buzzing action, because you're going to lower the action of the string. And you may have that string almost sit, depending on how you have the string set up off the frets. You may be sitting on that first fret.
Absolutely. And yeah, seen it. I've witnessed guys trying to do it themselves, and they just drill down, and they don't. It's actually going wider. I don't do it myself because I'm not that good at repairs, but definitely don't try it yourself if you don't know what you're doing. I mean, you're going to ruin your nut and have to take it off and get a new one, and just have a guy who just knows what he's doing. Beautiful. Awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, John, thank you for your time and answering a few questions that I had.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of our viewers have had too.
Right.
Talking about strings. So again, I'm going to do the outro. And we are at Melody Mart. We're in Homewood, Illinois, 35 minutes south of Chicago Loop and the Mighty Soldier Field.
Mighty Soldier Field.
Yes. And today is Monday, November 4th, 2013.
Correct, sir.
I'm Dave T., the camera guy, and this is John Falstrom, professional bassist and author of EADG 4, Theory Textbook for Bass Guitar. You can get a copy of his book at bassbooks.com or directly from EADG4.com. Also, if you have any questions that you would like to ask John and have us discuss, or I can have him ask your questions, or you want him to answer it yourself, you can email him at eadg4@yahoo.com, or leave your question in the comments section below this video, or you can become friends with John Falstrom on Facebook. Just look up John Falstrom, and you can ask your questions there, and we will be sure to get them answered for you. All right?
Absolutely. Man.
All right, and that's it for now, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Bye.
Twisting my mind for just a dime, blind, wasting time.